So, today, just because I've opened my Arcado toys in the nick of time, I'd been ready to do my request on wanting to do this to everyone to review the 50th anniversary of the spectacular Spider-Man. Because I understood that, I realized that ever since I noticed that, Spider-Man Noir is absent from appearing in Spider-Verse 2, because Nicolas Cage said that his character Spider-Man Noir has been put on a bus in this sequel that we're excited to see. I understood that this show looked very interesting. Even though this show took a lot of aspects from across Spidey's canon, it drew many storylines and plot lines from the Amazing Spider-Man, which made it which was making it a very much like a high school drama, with Gwen Stacy and Liz Allen appearing before Mary Jane for the spots of Peter's love interest within the main line, and returned to the latter of her original aloof and independent party girl personality, while making herself as Peter and Gwen's friend, and would have become the main love interest if the show had continued, especially since Peter's other relationships with Liz and Gwen ended on low note by season 2. Although it's credited to be created by Stan Lee and Steve Ditko, it will be adapted by Greg Weisman and Victor Cook. However, I noticed that this show settled with the story of how Peter started his journey of where the show originally began from, a timeline from September 2007 to March 2008, and that's where the show had its education, where it started from. As I noticed, these two guys would later go on to be involved in, Stretch Armstrong and the Flex Fighters. I understood that Josh Keaton, who is Michael Keaton's son, was involved in it. And I know that Lacey Chabert, who was involved in Sonic 06 for some reason, that a lot of people hated, was involved in as well. The plot is simple. When Peter Parker enters his junior year at Midtown Manhattan Magnet High School, he gets bitten by a genetically enhanced spider that has acquired the powers that he had finally got in recent months. But he struggles to balance his responsibilities as a costumed hero Spider-Man with the problems of his own life. While he fights crime, he navigates his affections for both Gwen Stacy and Mary Jane Watson, and maintains friendships with Harry Osborn and Eddie Brock. And he deals with being bullied by football star Flash Thompson at school, and keep his internship position as a lab assistant to Dr. Kurt Connors at the Empire State University, and help support his Aunt May following the death of his Uncle Ben. Because I knew that, for some reason, speaking of Word of God, just because Kurt Connors, who was originally absent from appearing in all three Spider-Man films of the original trilogy by Sam Raimi, would make his appearance in this one. Although he did appear in the new animated series that I mentioned before. Although the Daily Bugle, which was owned by loudmouth publisher J. Jonah Jameson, starts a smear campaign against him. However, he's not without his own enemies. Even though he's torn from Liz Allen, from her turf, he takes on the attentions of the Sinister Squad, led by the corrupt crime lord Tombstone, who is the big man of New York's criminal underworld, with the help of corrupt businessman Norman Osborn, who is and he helps timid scientist Dr. Octavius and mob enforcer Hammerhead to orchestrate the creation of various superheroes to defeat Spider-Man from interfering with his empire. Among the Sinister Squad, those contain the Vulture, Electro, the Lizard, Shocker, Sandman, who was originally absent from appearing in Spider-Man 1994, would make his return in this cartoon, Rhino, Doc Ock, by North America they call him Dr. Octopus, Chameleon, Black Cat, as well as Mysterio, Kraven the Hunter, Silver Sable, and Molten Man, including Silvermane and the Master Planner. Even though what happened is that the real Master Planner from Tombstone's established order was actually the mysterious Green Goblin, who surfaces his way to attempt to take control of the criminal underworld. Although he was mistaken to be vanquished by the moment Spider-Man would send him away to obscurity, he actually creates his own villain called Venom. But for some reason, after all the major threats he's dealt with, he has a last confrontation with the Green Goblin, who masterminded the gang war to eliminate his opposition and take control of New York City and destroy the World Crow once and for all. As he notices that in the cliffhanger of the plot twist is revealed that Norman Osborn is indeed the Green Goblin in what Spidey exposed Norman's secret identity to himself. Despite this, since it aired on Disney XD, the problem is it ran from March 8, 2008 to November 18, 2009 on a total of 2 seasons and 26 episodes. But according to Dapped Out, Word of God completely mentions that, in the original comics and most other adaptations, Ben's killer was originally a generic burglar, but the generic burglar is nowhere to be found, and Walter Hardy would end up being Uncle Ben's killer. However, for bad qualities due to licensing issues, the Kingpin, alongside Shashan Nugian, Dr. Miles Warren, Calypso, Cletus Cassidy, Morris Bench, and also Roderick Kingsley, Mark Gargan, and most notably the Hobgoblin are nowhere to be found. That for some reason why they're gone is that I had no idea why they had to let Tombstone inherit him as the villain with good publicity and the man behind the man of all those traits. Sadly, it was tragically cut short, which left a plot thread hanging, even though Sony and Disney's purchase of Marvel caused Sony to relinquish the TV rights to keep the film rights. But it also led to Spider-Man 4's cancellation, and that's why Marvel had to hit the reboot hammer in December 2009, and the rest was history. Despite being a short-lived show, I'd say it's by far the best of the bunch, as I know it's quite difficult to struggle a double life of having one for another. This was the greatest Marvel cartoon of all time, but I'd give it a 10 out of 10. This Spider-Man cartoon is by far the best of the bunch. But, I'm going to really tell you to see my mom. Mom.
Come and have your dinner.
I'm not going to have my dinner, but I don't know why Spectacular Spider-Man got cancelled.
The storyline was no good?
Yeah. Storyline was quite complicated.
Oh, my God.
But
Come and have your dinner.
I'm going to have my dinner now, so I ran out of my ideas. So, bye-bye.